In this episode, we're going to be talking about something you've never heard of or seen before. It's called the law of attraction. No, I'm sorry. It's called the law of sacrifice.
I'm Siena.
And I'm Toast.
We've been partners in life, love, and music since 2001. And we believe life is best lived as a love story. Your love story.
After all, to love well is to live well. For more, check out sienaandtoast.com. But for now, here's this episode.
Hey, everyone.
And welcome to this episode about the law of sacrifice. Ooh, it sounds so what?
It sounds kind of scary.
Religious.
But
and martyry and...
Yeah. If you're feeling a little uncomfortable, don't leave. Please don't leave. Hang in there because we are going to share another perspective on it that perhaps will shed some light on this law of sacrifice where you will feel like, hey, I wouldn't mind trying that.
Yeah. And I think, there's this feeling when we share about stuff that each of us is going through, where you get this feeling, I do anyways, you get the feeling of like, okay, it's not just me. I can relax and not relax in a way like, well, I give up, but relax in a way that's like, I don't have to get so down on myself, because sometimes we become our own worst enemies in the sense that, hey, we want to do good by ourselves here, right? We want to do our best and all of that, but putting the pressure on ourselves makes us do worse
sometimes.
Yeah,
sometimes that's so true. So welcome. Thank you for being here, and thank you for investing your time to be here with us and to journey along with us.
Yes.
We so appreciate it. We're all in this together, and we're happy to have you. So, Toast.
Yes. Siena.
So are you excited about tomorrow?
I really am. Yeah.
Okay, so tomorrow, what's happening is we're having some friends over. Just so happens to be all lesbian couples. Not that you need to know that, but just in case you were curious.
In case in case you don't have any lesbian friends in your life, well, you have us.
You have us.
You can say, hey, you know what? I know some lesbians.
Yes. And you might even be one yourself. So anyways, we're going to have some people over, and we are actually doing a belated celebration for one of our friends. And our friend is, do we say
Are we allowed to say
friend?
that it's a birthday celebration?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's not like, like a huge birthday party. It's just like a belated,
it's kind of
ode to Laura, right?
Yeah.
So that is what we're doing tomorrow, which is going to be fun because it gives me an excuse to bake, which I love to do. And I am going to be baking some good old-fashioned chocolate vegan cupcakes. I guess the old-fashioned days, it wouldn't be vegan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I guess what I mean is that, well, one of the partners is not having nuts. So instead of using almond flour, I will be using traditional good old-fashioned gluten.
So it's half old-fashioned and half very California.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. And we're going to have cute little decorations in them that you see on the picture here if you looked at our blog.
Oh, yeah. We'll put the link in the show notes, as always.
We will have that. And I was planning to cook, but I just don't have it in me,
So we're going to do takeout.
We are going to do takeout. And if you heard our podcast from last week about overwhelm, I'm trying not to overwhelm myself. So I am not going to be cooking.
And just so you know.
Me?
The
just
listener.
So I know?
Just so the listener
okay.
knows.
Yes.
I do cook too. So it's not like, so it's not like I'm like making Siena bake and make dinner and stuff like
You're
that.
You're not making me do anything. Let me say that.
We have a really nice division of labor in our household.
But
both
I don't
of us
take the
do
trash
cook,
out.
but Sienna doesn't take the trash out, and I don't put clothes into the laundry.
No.
Or into the washing machine. Okay, that's a sidebar.
Yeah.
But I just had to kind of stand up for myself and be like,
Of course,
hey,
yes.
don't think that
In fact-
Toast is just on the couch eating Fritos.
being all samurai.
While Sienna,
Samurai style.
yeah, being all like
No.
shogun and like, bring me the rice or whatever, right?
No, that's not true. And in fact, what I will share is that just last night, Toast made one of my favorite dinners that she makes.
I was so delighted when
I love
Sienna
it so much. You guys, I love it so much.
when Sienna came to the kitchen and stood there and looked at my chopped vegetables and said, "Oh, I can't believe this is happening." It was so cute. It was so cute.
Okay, and I'll tell you, I'm going to tell them what my favorite meal that you make.
Okay.
I love when Toast makes roasted garlic and roasted broccoli with roasted red potatoes. And it's not just any broccoli. It's baby broccoli. Mm-hmm. I love that so much. Oh my God, it's so good. And then you crunch on the garlic.
And we're having leftovers tonight.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
I'm so happy that it's so
Oh my God.
that I can please you with that
Your
simple
cooking skills.
dish.
I love it. I mean, it takes so much for me to not always include that every week.
Really? I bet you would get tired
I
of
would
it
love
though.
to have it every week. I don't think so.
We should do it.
I really love it.
That makes menu planning easier. We can do it every week, and then you might or may not get tired of it, and we can go from there.
I love it. Okay, anyways, so
that's
no one's cooking for tomorrow.
The
except
people
for
at the restaurant are cooking,
right. So
and we're going to pay them.
What's so fantastic is that very close to where we are now, we found a place that makes all vegan food. It's a vegan bistro. And not only that, it's a vegan Vietnamese place. And if you know Vietnamese food, so good. So good. It's kind of like Thai food, but it's lighter and fresher feeling. Don't you think?
I guess I never thought of it that way, but I know what you mean.
So
I know what
good.
you mean. There's more
Veggies,
uncooked food.
Yeah,
feeling
there's more
like
raw
more
in it.
uncooked options. So we're looking forward to that. Oh, I'm getting hungry already.
Oh my God, so good.
But we also thought to mention on this episode, because I think you can relate.
Yeah.
We also appreciate when we have guests come over to the house, because there's nothing like shame to motivate you to clean your house. And you have to clean your
That's
house
true.
anyway.
You do.
It's
You
not,
do.
like we try to keep the house relatively clean, but it's nice to have kind of like two reasons to clean, not just for yourself, but for other people.
Yeah. You want to make it nice for other people.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. So that's really good.
I know you can relate.
Right.
It's nice.
Yeah. So before, Toast and I used to clean a little bit every single week. And in some ways that happens for certain things, like maybe the floors, you do the floors and stuff like that.
Well, because the cat litter,
right.
right? You cat people, you know what I'm talking about.
Gets
If you
all
have
over the hardwood floors.
or the tile, right? You got to sweep that up.
But then we made the decision, as we have started to prioritize some things, which the law of sacrifice actually fits into what I'm about to say. But we decided, you know what? Instead of dedicating certain blocks for cleaning, let's just do that when we have people over. Because then it'll get done. Mm-hmm. We will have people over. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I
think it's great.
Our plan at this point is, our strategy is, hey, do the mini light upkeep on a regular basis, but do the big cleaning for when guests are coming over.
Yes.
And as long as you have guests coming over on a regular basis,
then you're fine.
Yeah.
You should be fine. Yeah.
That's our plan anyways.
And I guess I will share about Bear.
Yes.
Okay. So Bear
always has to be talked about in every episode. For the cat people, again.
For the cat people. Okay, so Bear.
Lesbian podcast, you got to do it.
he is doing really well at the new place, but he definitely misses certain things. Like at his old house, he had a sliding door that led out to a private fenced-in yard where it was just full on nature right there for him. And he had a lot of squirrels that would come and visit. He doesn't have that here, which is why we started taking him totally outside. In the last
harness
podcast,
that he escapes from.
Yes. So we mentioned in the last podcast that he escaped. So what is different about this place is that he does see a little bit more people when he looks outside. Mm-hmm. And I think that he's interested in that. And when we had some friends over recently, I felt like he had a little more pep in his step, which was nice. So it's going to be interesting to see how he feels about more people, different people coming over, mm-hmm. and if that just helps him feel a little bit more stimulated, mm-hmm. you know, and just more engaged in life, I would say. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And these are, oh, come on, these are such cat people. Oh my God, yeah. In fact, one couple owns a cat store.
They don't sell cats at their store. It's a cat-inspired gift boutique.
Yeah, gift boutique. There we go. That's very good. And then the other couple, they actually foster cats and kittens all the time, constantly.
They're amazing. Yes, they are.
And they choose the harder ones. They choose the ones that are more frightened. They choose the ones that are a little more ferally. Pretty incredible. So these are mega cat people. Mm-hmm. Lesbians and cats.
And we have acoustic guitars in our living room.
Yeah.
So it's very lesbian. It's going to be very lesbian here tomorrow night. Okay. So now, with that, let's talk about the law of sacrifice.
All right. Okay, so the law of sacrifice. Now, I gotta say that when I first learned of this law, anyways, and I saw it in my studies, the law of sacrifice, I had resistance. And
did you have images of like a cross and a whip and blood? An altar and knives?
I did go back to my Catholic upbringing, so in a way, maybe yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had resistance. It's like, I don't want to sacrifice anything. Mm-hmm. You know, that's how I felt anyways. Mm-hmm. But as I learned more about this law, I was like, yes, so true. Sign me up. I love it.
Okay.
Not saying it's easy, but I was like, I'm on board. Okay. So why don't you explain?
Well, and can we say to maybe just be more everyday about it, that you could replace the word law with the word concept?
Yes.
The concept of sacrifice,
yes.
The law of sacrifice. Okay. So I guess the fastest way to say it is just really this concept of sacrifice is the concept of, hey, you got to give up something in order to get something else. So it's the giving up of something of what could be called a lower nature in return for getting or acquiring or receiving or becoming something of a higher nature.
Yes.
It's the concept of simple exchange.
It's an exchange, yes. So I think a lot of times when we think of sacrifice, we're thinking we're losing something, but you're not losing something. I mean, you're losing, but you're receiving.
Yeah.
So it's like
you're losing something that's quote unquote lower to gain something that's quote unquote higher. In other words, you're giving up or losing something that you would rather not have if you want the other thing that you do want to have.
It's almost like you give up something, you're creating space. You make space and you give up something in order to make that space for the new thing to come in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's another way I think you can see it too. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like you give up time. Well, you're going to have to give up time anyway. Time's going to be passing by you.
Yes.
You have no choice about that, but at least you do have a choice about what you
use
do
it.
with that time, right? What you do during that time.
But I think that with this concept of sacrifice, and here's another word that might be triggering.
Okay. What word?
Discipline.
I kind of like that word.
I know you like that word. I don't. But but I'm embracing this word more and more. But I definitely think that discipline is such a part of working with this law of sacrifice, this concept of sacrifice. Because in order to, you have to have that discipline in order to submit to the law of sacrifice.
Or to invoke the law in a way that you want.
Yes. Yes.
I like the word. Okay. So we're just talking about the law of sacrifice. And one of the first things that came to my mind when you brought up the topic as a podcast episode, as an idea, I was like, okay. One of the first things that another word that came to mind is cooperating with nature, cooperating with God, cooperating with spirit. And it's the thought of dividing up that word of I am operating. It's not just me operating.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times in the world of self-help and motivation and all of that, there's this message that can be interpreted as you can do anything. You can do the impossible, right? Don't put limits on yourself. You can do it. And that can easily be interpreted as a message of go on with your ego, go on with your bravado, go on and you can do it.
Okay.
And to me that misinterpretation of the message is the idea of you can just operate. You can be the sole operator and defy anything else that's going on. You can achieve the impossible, defy the odds, overcome, right? You can just determine what it's going to be, and you are the sole operator in your life. But I think that is full of ego and bravado and a misguided frame of mind.
If it's taken that way, if it's perceived that way.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because each of us, we are a part of nature. We are forced to cooperate with nature. Yes, we are operators, but so is the force of nature itself. So is God or spirit or whatever you want to call it. And so for me, that word discipline, it automatically conjures up the concept of discipleship. Like being a disciple means you are taking your will and your ability to operate in your life, and you are submitting yourself to a certain way, right? To a certain teaching or a teacher, right? That's what a disciple is I'm choosing to submit. And in this concept of the law of sacrifice, or in how I like to participate with my personal development, I am submitting to the way that nature works. Right? I am cooperating. So it's a constant conversation between me and the messages that I'm always listening for, looking out for from the spirit, right? From the universe, whatever you want to call it.
So to just clarify for the listeners, like when you're talking about nature, you're talking about spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God. Okay, sorry. Quick sidebar about the word God. I think it's unfortunate that those of us who are in the LGBTQ community or other marginalized communities have been scared away from using the word God because it has been given negative connotations. But I'm going to keep using it every now and then because I don't want to, I refuse to relinquish my ability and right to use that word just because of how it's been used against LGBTQ people and other folks.
Interesting.
Just saying.
I mean, I used it in the last podcast.
Yeah,
but then
we still
I say,
use it.
But then I say, universe, not for the reason that you're bringing up, though. Okay. I just, like, even just for maybe some Catholic people who are no longer Catholic, like maybe it's not God, maybe it's spirit, maybe maybe a person resonates more with spirit or higher self or infinite side of oneself or,
Yeah. I just think that a lot of the discomfort with the word God is because of how traditional institutionalized religion has been,
so
a catalyst for hurt
in general
against
versus LGBT.
Yes,
specific.
Yes,
okay,
in general across the ages and all of that stuff. Okay, that was a sidebar about the word God. But getting back to the law of sacrifice and discipline and the discomfort of that, right?
But before we get back into that,
okay,
I do have to say, like, even though I can't specifically name places, I do know that some people are helping to heal the whole concept of God, in creating safer churches and
it's a bear. Bear just hurled himself onto Siena's chair. Oh my gosh.
Did you see that?
Kind of. I more saw your chair kind of shake. Wow.
Are you okay?
I don't think I'd seen him do that before.
He was on my back.
Like a goat. Like doing goat yoga, but with a cat.
Okay, anyways, what I'm trying to say is that I totally hear what you're saying. And I'm so grateful for the churches that exist that have that rainbow flag hanging outside, Christian churches, having that flag outside to say, hey, we are not one of those people.
Yes.
We are safe. Come here. And I just want to make sure that we say that because I see a lot of those.
Yes.
And we need them.
Yes.
All right. So we can get back.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, that's very true. And just for the record, Siena and I although we came from Catholic and Christian backgrounds, I don't think we wouldn't classify ourselves as Christian or Catholic in that sense. I feel like
in the traditional sense.
In the traditional sense, and even in the non-traditional sense, in the welcoming and affirming kind of way. Like I would be at home in one of those services probably because that's my background. Like I know that world, but I would say your spirituality and my spirituality today is more in the quote unquote nun category.
I thought you I was like N-U-N. I'm like nun.
Not like convent, not like Maria kind of nun, but yeah, N-O-N-E. Like we don't fall under any specific.
Not like Sister Marie Celeste style.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Correct.
I just want to clarify
Yes.
and be like that. So our spirituality is more. What do you call it? New or old? Whatever you want to call it. It's
just the truth. Capital T.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So, anyways, we got way off the topic. Or maybe not. I don't know. I'm like, well, maybe it wasn't that far off the top. The law of sacrifice. So really what you're doing is the law of sacrifice, the concept of it is giving up something of a lower nature for something of a higher nature. And in this law, really, it should be that way. It should be something lower you're giving up for something higher. And what higher means is just something more along the lines of the vision you have for yourself, the person you want to become, the person you truly are. It's all the things that would head you in that direction, would create more alignment for you with those things and ways of being. So that's something truly to remember. So I think the old way of seeing sacrifice is when you're like, oh my God. And it's something, you shouldn't be doing that because you are trading. You're doing it the other way. You're giving up something of a higher nature.
In order to conform to the expectations being placed on
that
you
is a
by
lower
family
nature.
tradition, perhaps.
Whatever
or
it is.
societal
Right.
tradition.
And I think that in general is what we've learned to do is, no, you should do that. You're a good person if you're doing that. And I think that's how we generally see sacrifice. But what we're talking about is, and what Toast mentioned, is really cooperating with nature, with God, with spirit, which means giving up something of the lower nature for the higher nature, so that you are always more naturally moving in the direction of who you're meant to be, what you're meant to have, how you're meant to live. And I think that's a huge distinction.
Mm-hmm. So it's what we're talking about is a more conscious, aware way of sacrificing the parts and behaviors of yourself and your habits that you really know are not for the highest good.
Exactly. It's a more evolved way of sacrificing. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like you and your exercise.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
That's like a really good example.
Okay. Okay. So what Siena's bringing up is my relationship and struggle with exercise, which at its essence and core, I really enjoy. And I get a lot out of it.
You do.
And Siena notices a very obvious difference
You're
in
nice. You're so nice.
I become nicer to her when I am in a consistent exercise regimen.
You're so friendly.
And I just feel better because I'm healthier. I mean, exercise is part
You're friendly actually every day.
Big, it's a big part of health and longevity and living well. But the lower nature, I guess, tendency has been to just not prioritize it because I'll succumb, to those reasons of like, well, I have to get this other stuff done for work, or for my family or for Siena even, right? Like it's like all this stuff that needs to get done. And so I have succumbed to using that as an excuse of I don't have time to exercise. But this past spring, I finally got sick and tired of hearing myself make those excuses and make those decisions and have another day go by where, didn't exercise.
Yeah.
And so this past spring, I just made a decision one day and was like, this got to stop. Come on. Get your act together. And I'll tell you, from that day for the next, 2 or 3 months, I exercised every single day and I felt great.
Yeah.
And I was really, really enjoying the relational awareness aspect of it, in the sense that I quickly learned, like, I need to really pay attention to my body so that I don't injure myself, because that was another pattern I would have back in the day where I would just like go for it and I sprained my wrist. Oops. Yeah. Like crazy stuff like that. So I was really enjoying the deeper, more nuanced and complex aspect of exercise. And being aware, right? More aware and aware of exactly. Your body. Yeah, exactly. And making quick plans. I'm not talking about like programming that would take me, any longer than 3 minutes to figure out, in terms of, okay, so what feels like the wisest thing to do over the next week or even the next day, based on how my body is feeling, and just really being in tune with that, and looking forward to a workout that might be all stretching. Yeah. Right? Or a workout that, a few days later would be it's mobility kind of exercises to increase and maintain my flexibility. It wasn't all just
following a plan.
Do as much as you can.
It. Yeah.
Right? And lift as much as you can or do as many reps as you can. No, it's not all like that. So I was really enjoying that.
And that's like what you were saying, cooperating with nature.
Right.
That's a great example of that.
Yeah, it really felt like a really pleasurable and fulfilling way to live out what that relationship is. And then we moved.
There we go.
And there's a there's such a thing as disrupting a routine that kind of throws you off.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I was very proud of myself, though, that soon after the move, I did a couple more workouts and a few days in a row.
Yeah.
But as this podcast started coming up on the calendar, I allowed myself to give in to that old thing of, well, hey, man, got to get the podcast going. And so I don't have time to exercise anymore. And I got to tell you, man, I have been feeling the effects of it just within my body. And it's a subtle feeling, but I can feel it. I notice that
it's subtle now.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Because it's only been, I think, a
week and a half.
Yeah, a week and a half, of no workout.
Right.
No workout in the way I used to be. And you know what was really tricky is that after I picked up my workouts again, right? After moving, and I was like, hey, I'm going to still do my workouts. Look, there's a jungle gym out there. Look, I can do pull-ups on it. Yeah, okay, great. Like I'm working out. Well, here's the tricky part. I thought, wait, man, I'm gonna do a workout first thing in the morning, a quick one. And so I started doing that, and it was like super quick, like 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And I realized in retrospect that because I did that.
You thought that was it.
I went the whole day and was like, oh, can't fit it in, but hey, I did a quick one.
Oh, yeah. So that doesn't really work for you.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I let too many days go by of that, and then started slipping into, well, never mind, just nothing. So anyway, so all that to, hopefully some of you guys can relate. I know that exercise can be a challenging thing for a lot of us, but I am right now in the process of needing to invoke this law of sacrifice and needing to recommit to giving up this lower way of doing life that doesn't even include any exercise.
Yeah.
In exchange for a higher way of life,
right,
which prioritizes it and gets me back into this really conscious, literally a physical relationship with God, with Spirit, of cooperating and reaping the benefits.
And how do you do that? Discipline
of submitting myself to what it will take
of life, right?
To this way.
Yes.
Yeah. So what it will take is it will take me, and I like to budget an hour.
Yeah.
For not for the workout, but I realized that, hey, you know what? To change my clothes and then to get my shoes on, right? And then to do the workout, to do the warm up, do the workout, do the cool down, do my recovery drink afterwards, when I factor in all of that, an hour is super comfortable.
It's great.
And if I have leftover time because the workout was shorter, hey, that's great. But I know that if I submit that hour, it just elevates everything else. So it's worth it to make that hour sacrifice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, I just gave myself a pep talk. I feel inspired now.
Good.
But I know I need to.
That's great. I
know I really need to do that, and I'm gonna feel more like my true self as I do that. That's the biggest reward, and I know people can relate to that. It's like that. You want to be your true self, who you are.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, that feels great. When you get to act and be and do the things that truly express who you are.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a successful story.
Yeah, I was going to say, why don't you share something?
I know you're working on what you just shared, but I have a success story where I was feeling like you, feeling like, I was more aligned, and then now I'm not. I'm feeling the effects, and it's time to get back into the submission.
Submission to who you truly are. Isn't that so funny?
Like how submitting, surrendering to who I truly am, right? And so what was happening is that Toast and I, we were staying up late, staying up whatever time till whatever time.
What do they call that? Netflix and chill, right?
Yeah, just
letting it play to the next thing until...
Yeah, and it all started with the move, and just working, getting through the list of what we needed to get done, and then having dinner later than we normally would. And then, so everything was just later. And then because of that, sleeping later, we're waking up later. It just threw everything off. But we got through the move successfully. And now it's time to kind of, tighten things up again, get back on track, because they say that's out of all the habits that you can create for yourself. One of the best habits is learning how to get back on the horse for all the different things.
Oh, right? No kidding,
That's
right?
the best habit. How do you get back on the horse?
Yes.
So getting back on the horse. So what I've recently got back on the horse with, and you as well, is waking up early. So we are back to waking up at 4 a.m. to do all the things that just help us feel so aligned and good and well and productive and efficient. And what that means, though, in order to submit to this way of living and being, is sacrificing the lower vibration and self of just numbing out and watching yet another episode of Marco Polo or another episode of Sharp Objects. Isn't one episode enough?
You know what?
How about 3 in a row?
Well,
do I need to watch 3 in a row?
Nobody needs to watch any Netflix.
No.
But what's really funny is how, I don't know if it still does this, but it used to, I know, because back in the Breaking Bad days, right? It was like...
I lost so much life with that one.
I know, right? Well, okay. But
anyways.
Didn't a message used to come on and says, are you still watching?
Yes.
Right? Because if you just let it keep playing...
I gotta say, I haven't seen that message in...
You know why? Because...
I don't know how long.
Well,
long.
It's either because you haven't watched that long, which is great.
Or they remove that.
Yeah, and they don't care.
Because maybe it made people feel guilty.
I don't know.
Anyways, so I've been very successful with that, and I'm very happy about it. One of the things I really missed waking up early is the sun's already out. I love that quiet, dark...
It's such a sacred feeling.
Night of morning, that morning night. I love that. It's just, the air feels different. Everything feels so different. And then I'll also throw in there something else that we recently just kind of whipped into shape because, again, the move is healthier eating. You're sacrificing the time because it takes time to plan, to do the menu plan, to take the time to cook,
do the dishes,
to also use that to write out the grocery list, and to just look at a list and go, oh, okay, what are we having tonight? Okay, and just following it. You feel better, you're spending less money, you're eating better, all of that. And that is the way that I want to submit to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds so old-fashioned to say to submit. Right. Even that sounds very I'm
triggering.
That's triggering. I do get evangelical Christian flashbacks. Submit to the way. But if you're submitting because that's what you want to do, because
Yeah.
you know this works for you.
Right.
And you know, and you feel that I feel really good about my life looking like this.
Yeah.
Then that's great. Well,
Right.
what's fascinating to me is how we do it's part of human nature and it's part of life and being in this world. There is that sense of resistance, like you said, even though it's what you want to do.
I know.
Isn't that interesting?
But that's what we talked about before. There's always something it's polarity, right? There's always something that's going to pull you back, as well as something a part of you that wants to move you forward. So I guess a good way to end this podcast, to wrap this podcast up, is to invite you to think of what in your life, if you stop doing, would move you in the direction of who you're meant to be, or your more aligned vision for yourself. There is something that I bet comes to mind when you think of, if you just stop doing that.
Like looking at Twitter when you're on the toilet.
Please don't do that. Okay, you know what? Actually, what I will say, please, people, okay, can we not bring the phone in the bathroom? Please, please. I don't care. Not just when you're on the toilet, okay? If you're going to go get ready for the day, when you're going to brush your teeth, when you're going to go shower, please do not bring your phone into the bathroom. Trust me, I still sort of do it. But I will say that I am hyper aware that when I stopped doing it, so now I'm like 50-50.
Okay.
Not the toilet one. I do not do the toilet one, but I bring the phone
I'll
in.
admit I've done that.
Toast. Don't.
I've just admitted it to all of whoever's listening to this.
Okay.
I've done it.
No one should be on the toilet with their phone.
It.
Okay. That's the worst. Like, do not do that. But also try not to bring it in when you're like, okay, I'm going to go shower, and you bring the phone in with you. Not in the shower, but you're bringing it's on the counter and you're prepping to shower, or you're brushing your teeth, whatever it is. I swear to God, when I do it, I lose like 15 minutes.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a lot of time.
I know what you mean. And
so now I tell myself, I'm like, okay, am I going to sacrifice knowing, like seeing a few more likes, or looking at Instagram, or looking up a recipe that pops into my head, or writing one other note? No, just put the phone away. And I gotta say, it wasn't comfortable, because I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta remember to do. Then I'm like, oh, I don't have my phone in here. Do not bring the phone. Even but that one habit, don't bring your phone in. Do not bring your phone into the bathroom.
Yeah, like I can also say that. Well, okay, I gotta do my exercise thing first. Okay, so one thing at a time. I'm going to focus on that.
But don't bring it on the toilet. Just bring it. Like, if you need to have it by you when you're brushing your teeth and listening to a podcast, then all right, do it.
Okay.
That's just TMI for everyone, I'm sure.
Sorry.
Okay. Anyways.
But I think they secretly enjoy, like, having that TMI. Okay, so... And there's such a freedom in having told you.
Okay.
Hello. No, but I agree with you. I agree with you, and I can speak from experience, because there was a time, and you know what? Maybe I'll just go cold turkey and be like, no, I'm going to make a new rule: no phone in the bathroom at all.
You
just
were really
don't do
such a great example.
I was doing that
because I saw the phone outside of the bathroom.
I would purposefully, in a defiant way,
you'd bring it to put it outside,
right outside in the bathroom, and be like, look at that. So maybe I'll be doing that again, and you'll see my phone right outside the bathroom and be like, ha, no phone in the bathroom. But when I was doing that in a consistent way, it was another sense of just a feeling over my body and my organism, over my energy, just a feeling that's through me that was different and better.
It's subtle, but there is a calmness. There's a calm, groundedness. And I absolutely noticed that too.
Yeah. And I would say that's more of a connection to God.
Yeah.
More of a connection to the essence of existence. Okay, sorry, that went way off.
No, that's good. This is all
that
good
was an
stuff.
example of something that you're doing that if you stop doing, that's more aligned with who you are.
That's such a great way to say it. I was trying to say it and I'm stumbling all over the place, but exactly what you said. Yes. So think about that.
So you're going to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
Right? But it's something that's not even aligned with who you really are anyway.
Yeah. Seriously.
Okay.
All right. If you made it through this whole podcast, congratulations. Good on you.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, we hope you got something out of it. And we just want to, again, yet affirm that we appreciate you. We're all on this journey together. It's all about progress, not perfection. So just remember that.
Mm-hmm. And we love you.
We love you, and we so appreciate your time and what you're sacrificing in order to take the time to listen to our podcast.
And we hope to be worthy of that in the sense of we hope that it does shine some love and some light into your energy and your beingness.
Yes. So if you're not on our email list, don't forget to join. We are getting back on our newsletters.
Check us out at sienaandtoast.com. And if you already left a review or a rating, much appreciation. Thank you so much. Please consider mentioning the podcast to a friend. And we just want to say, this is Siena. Well, no, this is Toast. I'm saying Siena's line. This has gone too long. We're getting loopy. We need to eat.
Yeah, I'm so hungry. Okay. Oh my God, my broccoli.
Yes, leftovers. Roasted broccoli.
Anyways, so until next time, this is Siena.
And this is Toast. And we invite you to come and live your love story.